Hello Aries, and welcome to your monthly forecast. My name is Nicholas Ashbaugh. It's great to see all of you. We're going to be taking a look at the month of August here. If you want to look at any of the July readings, they're on the main channel right now. But we're going to be taking a look at the next 6 to 8 weeks to see what's coming through for you. I always like to begin with channeled messages, and for me this comes through from dreams and from meditation. And as I was tuning into the energy for you today, the main message was one of being flexible and allowing yourself to go into new possibilities. So there was this beautiful dream that I had where I saw the highest possible version of oneself, like the soul energy, somersaulting forward and backward, doing this sort of acrobatic, energetic flip through time and through space. It felt exhilarating, it felt boundless, limitless, and it really showed me just the potential that we all have to expand. So I'm going to talk about that first, and then we're going to talk about some growth opportunities. So this somersault, like I said, it was the highest possible version of yourself, your soul, your endless, timeless, boundless version of you. And what I saw was like different incarnations, different faces, different places, different times, and different dimensions. And it reminded me how sometimes we get very stuck in one little box, in one particular part of our life, and we think, well, this didn't work out, and then that person didn't like me. And this sort of somersaulting energy reminded me that we can get through this. We've done that before, we can do it again. And in this lifetime, we're meant to go beyond the perceived limits. So that final piece here, you can handle this moment with ease, kind of like that of an acrobat or a gymnast, providing that you're flexible here and here. If your heart is willing and able to explore new things and your head doesn't get in the way, basically your energetic body will take you to the distance, okay? There is a fluidity and a sort of lack of beginnings and ends that sort of is hard for our human brain to wrap its head around. But this month, you're able to move if you're flexible and if you kind of believe in your potential and your capacity. The next scene that I was shown was almost like something from a science fiction movie. I saw this beautiful, lush green forest, and to me the trees looked like they were all conifers or evergreens. And then I was shown memories of a child, from a child's perspective, seeing a parent as a source of love, of nurturing, of safety. And then I felt that energy of being safe and loved and nurtured. And then I realized that part of this is also for you to get ready to deliver or to take care of something in your life. It might be a project, it might be a child for some of you that are expecting. It could also be new love. And it's just saying, we all want to be loved. We all want to feel safe. And this month, if you can work on reconnecting with the inner child, loving it and saying, we're going to be okay no matter what, then again, the sky is the limit here. So the sun energy definitely would come through with this. We have the world, now we have the sun here. You might be also seeking out a more nurturing environment, whether it's work or a relationship. You need to feel that sense of being safe. Now, finally, I was paying attention to one of the pine cones on the conifer trees. And this was kind of interesting. I did a little bit of research on how the cones work, and they're basically there as a form of protection. They expand when it's safe. They contract to protect the seeds against predators and again, before the time is ready for them to be released into the wild. So it's basically an Ace of Pentacles, and it's a chance for you to show your hidden strength, for you to know that even if there's something that you're protecting, we're entering into a period now where this little baby on the horse wants to come out and say, let's do this. And the somersaulting gymnast that I saw is saying, we can actually bring this to the finish line. So Aries, it's going to be an exciting month for you. It feels like a lot of you have been doing inner work, and yes, your flexibility may be tested this month, but absolutely yes, you can handle all that's coming your way. All right, we're going to now take a look at the Celtic Cross. Thank you, everybody, for joining. Again, this can help you through the next 6 to 8 weeks. Just like this says, you can use it for any placement of your chart, including Sun, Rising, Moon, and Venus. And we're going to take a look at the Sun, Rising, and Moon components a little bit later. Let's get the cards shuffled and see what this month has in store for you. We already got a volunteer, if I can pull it up here. The 10 of Wands, and it's a fruitful 10 of Wands. I love it. I also love when a volunteer like that just makes itself seen. I've been using this deck for a while, but I don't think I've seen that one, so that's pretty cool. this to the side. There we go. How's everyone doing today? I hope you're doing well. All right, everyone, let's take a look now at your catalyst card. As this says, the catalyst is something that helps you spark change and action and movement in your life. We have the beautiful mountain, something that just came through on a recent weekend collective that I did. And as I was mentioning with the mountain card that I got then, one thing to remember is that there are high points and then there are challenging points, peaks and valleys. And when you're doing something, you don't want to focus so much on being overwhelmed. It's one step at a time. For those of you like me that like to do some hiking or just like exercise in general, you're not going to try to change everything overnight. Baby steps, incremental changes that help you get towards your end or goal. For those of you that are writers, or if you're planting a garden, same thing. Step by step, seed by seed, day by day, and eventually something beautiful comes through. And that's what this reminds us. And we see a little tiny person there at the top of the mountain. So take a moment today to realize, recognize, and embrace just how far you've come. Even if it is just a couple of steps, it's a beginning. So if you feel like you've been stagnating, take the first step. If you've been doing some work and you're frustrated on progress, just look at the fact that you've made progress. And if you made a ton of progress, but you're frustrated that it's not finished, take a moment to take in the view, all right? It's worth the journey. And if we take a look at this center card, there's such a nice alignment with what we just talked about, because this person's taking a moment to what? Smell the flowers. So instead of just taking a look at the view, they're also looking at what's right in front of them. And there's a practice of gratitude and appreciation that I love with this. Now, you do see the subtle burden that sometimes comes just as you're ready to finish something that you've set out to complete. Let's just compare and contrast this with two other Ten of Wands cards. Here's your traditional Rider-Waite-Smith card, and you can really clearly see that feeling of just trying to get through the finish line. Here it's a little bit nicer. I think what she's doing is realizing I've worked hard, but let's just take in the moment and realize that this was difficult. I'm not going to give up yet. So I love that. One way that she could possibly do this a little bit more effectively is through delegation. This Ten of Wands, connecting nicely to the mountain, shows that sometimes we just need to share some of that burden, some of that feeling with someone around us and say, hey, what do you think? Or could I have some help? Or maybe you even need a little bit of final motivation. And you don't have to do this alone. That's the message here, okay? But I love what you've got coming through with the Ten of Wands. This can also be a card of travel. And so for many of you, there's a reminder not to burden yourself too much during travel. This is when you definitely would need to sort of like delegate some of the existing responsibilities, especially if you have a partner or if you're working with or for someone, just sort of making sure that you're not carrying the weight of the world on your back, okay? So could be travel for pleasure, for work, or even just for your own personal expansion and growth. No matter how we look at this, this is a really great card to put at the center. One of the most positive, most powerful cards, and it's reminding you you're like one step away from finishing something, so don't give up, all right? Now let's take a look at what's crossing this card. We have one of my favorite cards, Justice, because it typically shows doing the right thing. It shows like work-life balance coming through, and there is a big difference between justice and judgment. Judgment usually shows a decision that you've made or someone else, and there's really just a matter of have you accepted it or what's next. And also sometimes even like figuring out what to do after something's completed. Justice is the fun part because now you're really empowered to decide. You're weighing out your options. So if something doesn't serve your highest good, if you don't like something, definitely do some shopping around. And this is particularly true with like jobs, for instance. Can even be true in a new relationship. If you're just not feeling that you're vibing, maybe just decide, is this worth the time and energy that I'm putting into it? There could also just be an opportunity for you to create better boundaries and find better balance in your life. Justice is great, especially when it's crossing all of this, the 10 of Wands. And it could simply be, folks, just a question of what's next. You're almost done with this, now what? Find the next thing, also figure out, this can be like an evaluation. Did I get what I wanted out of that? She's touching a couple of other cards, so I'm going to revisit Justice in just a sec. But I want to first take a look at your deep past, the Four of Cups. The Four of Cups came through in the reverse state, which means that there could be a hidden blessing. Before I kind of break down that illustration too much, let's look at your traditional Four of Cups here. And if you look at the Rider-Waite-Smith one, you can see really easily, if we cover up the 3 at the bottom, that it can be just a hidden ace. The universe threw you a curveball. Doesn't mean that it doesn't have your back. In fact, this card is suggesting exactly that it has your back, but it may be giving you something at a time that's inconvenient in a way that's unexpected. And it's basically challenging you to look at what your expectations are, maybe release them, and imagine that there could be something better or different, and see how that feels. There sometimes is a need to just kind of let go of the frustration that you didn't get something that you wanted when you wanted. So you might be looking at a friend or a family member that, you know, maybe they were able to buy their house sooner. Maybe they found the relationship that you were hoping that you had. They got into the choice school or the choice job or whatever. And you're thinking, well, what about me? And the universe is right there behind you saying, I've got your back. I'm here with you. What do you want to create? What else is here? Have you looked, by the way, at some of the other things that I'm trying to get you to pay attention to? In the Weekend Collective, let me see if I have this card here. I do, because I keep saying rejection is protection, but in the collective, we got obstacles or detours in the right direction, same sort of thing. So when we reach one of those full stops or kind of like, detour, it's saying, over here, pay attention. It's setting you up for a synchronicity, folks. You might meet just the right person at just the right place at just the right time. But first, you have to have something that feels initially like a disappointment or a roadblock. It's so that you would have to go down that path. So that's what I'm seeing here, is that there's something that you might be feeling a little bit triggered over, but we see that the universe here is holding an umbrella and saying, I've got you. Something better is around the corner. All right, so recalibrating and looking around. Now we're going to look at one of the cards that Justice is pointing to. All right, in the recent past, we have the Five of Pentacles reversed. This is auspiciously placed. We want to get this card reversed. It represents limits, and oftentimes limits that we impose on ourselves because something didn't work out in the past and we imagine that it's always going to be that way. The traditional card looks something like this. Well, it looks exactly like this because I'm showing you it. The Five of Pentacles typically is two people that are both trying to recover. It can be two wounded souls, basically. And sometimes this can be parent and child, but it can just be two people that have had something go wrong in the past. They want to be there for each other, but they may lack the capacity, the imagination, or the presence of mind to kind of be there. So if anyone lacked what it took to be your support in one moment in time, and they said, you're not good enough, or they rejected you, or they just didn't show up, that had less of an indication of who you were, and it was more sort of an indication of what they were going through. So this is a chance for you to recalibrate and say, I am worth more. I am ready to ask for more, and I'm not going to take myself for granted. I'm not going to let anyone come into my life and try to pay me less or take advantage of my time and energy. I'm going to stand up and say, this is what I need to succeed, and I need a little bit more if I'm going to do this. Or you can simply say no to something that is less than what's the best for you, okay? So this is your chance to kind of basically vacate this feeling of being caged in and expand. So I do love that. And actually, when the card is reversed, the flower is growing in the right direction. We do have the roots kind of going down, but the flower is actually upright, which is what I like. So this is your chance to grow, to expand, to bloom, to blossom, and to thrive, all right? But part of that involves stepping away from people that make you feel less than, stepping away from situations where you're just not getting the support that you need, all right? This also might be a chance to heal wounds with a sibling, a parent, or someone in the past that hurt you. You don't have to accept an apology, but maybe someone's giving you one, or maybe you're just going to realize again in that moment that was the best they could offer, even if it wasn't enough, and move on. All of this is really important because once you value yourself more, others will do the same. And we have the 10, not the 10 of Pentacles here, the Wheel of Fortune. It has the number 10 on it as well. The Wheel of Fortune is such a great card to come through in the crowning position. It's basically showing me, like it's right here, all of the gears are moving, all of the opportunities are starting to open up. And I love that the top gear is that of her heart. So once you start to feel love for yourself, let's go back to my channeled messages where I was talking about the evergreen sort of forest, where those initial images, it's all making sense now, right? From childhood came through, just needing to feel loved, supported, and appreciated. Ultimately, folks, we have to do that for ourselves, okay? When I had this dream, it was kind of like my higher self saying, let me show you when we first met. And it was the higher version of me just kind of coming through and saying, this is us. We're lovable, you know, and this was you in different lifetimes. This was you with different parents, but look at how lovable you are. And you have to feel that sense of being able to surrender to just being loved by the universe. That's also the divine energy coming through, a universal mother energy saying, we love you, okay? So I want you to kind of do that for yourself if you're not getting it elsewhere. And again, I'm not a substitute for a therapist, but that's what Spirit was showing me was find a way to love and nurture yourself, because then all of this cool stuff starts to come in. The Wheel of Fortune shows a change in fortune, a change in direction, and oftentimes indicates a one-year cycle, at least 10 months, but 10 to 12 month cycle that's underway. So some of you are getting a new job, changing your major, moving in, moving out, doing something big, but it's a positive change. So I would say embrace that, put your energy behind it, and the answer to this, like what's next, is something bigger. And if there was any sort of disappointment here in the past, it is again to kind of align you to this higher opportunity that's knocking, all right? Let's see what's coming through in the near future. For some of you, it's love. And, you know, the Page of Cups is looking at the King of Pentacles, and that's in your environment. So there could be a great earth sign coming through. We also see a divine partnership between the Queen and King of Pentacles, and these definitely come through as partner cards. So I'm excited for you. All right, the Page of Cups. In the near future, it's a very, very positive card. I love that she's kind of looking at this little fish in the cup and saying, you know what, we did it. There is a little bit of a celebratory energy with this particular one, and an appreciation. I think gratitude, Aries, could be a really important tool for your manifestation this month. Thanking yourself, thanking your friends, thanking the divine, thanking everything for bringing through the energy, the opportunities, and also your strength, like that you got as far as you did. Pages are great at opening new channels, communicating, and this one is saying, how are you going to communicate with the heart? And it's nicely connected with this. So we have the heart being the top gear, and we have here like the key being the Page of Cups. So speak from the heart. And yes, you can speak about what's important, whether it's something financial or technical or whatever, but the thing that's going to sell people is the passion. Decisions are part here and part here too. So you look at something, you like it, it looks good on paper, but there's something that makes your heart beat an extra beat and you're like, yeah, let's do it. Let's go for it. If you're trying to spark interest, if you're trying to explain something, don't leave out the emotional component. If you're looking for love, and we will talk about that when we expand the forecast in a moment, yeah, I see a lot of opportunities coming through this month. You're showing up as lovable. This is definitely in the past. It came through in the recent past, so there might have been a breakup or disappointment or a setback, but it is not what the future really wants you to focus on here, because we have Pentacles, 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 manifestation. It's so good, Aries. This is a turning point for you. I don't know where you were prior to this, some of you that are watching, but the Wheel of Fortune, it's spinning in the right direction, and now we see all of this positive movement here. So let's focus on it, all right? So if you want something, don't be afraid to ask. Pages speak up. They definitely are communicative. They listen, and this particular page speaks from the heart. Let's see how you're showing up. Queen of Pentacles, making things happen. If I had to choose between Queen and King energies, typically I would choose Queen energies because they can birth, they can nurture, they can fix, they can also boss things around. Like it's to me, it's one, even though we have this weird hierarchy in tarot, I would always go for the energy that can create, and the divine feminine can create. So the fact that you're showing up with divine feminine energy is fantastic. You can create, nurture, fix, and put things in the right direction. I love that we see all the seasons represented here. It's kind of like spring and then also autumnal energy, and she's smack dab in the center. We also have the rabbits here. Always good to see speed, fertility, and movement as a component of that. And all of these things are coming through for you right now. So if you don't have what you want with respect to money or opportunities, you have the ability to kind of like create something new here by speaking from the heart, by asking for what it is that you want, by partnering up with someone, okay? If you're looking to expand wealth, business, or your family, this card is perfect for that, okay? What's going on around you? Well, we have a King of Pentacles. So when I get a divine connection like this, two in the same suit, two that are very nicely matched like this, then I can see that partnership might be knocking on the door. Now, I wish the King of Pentacles was upright. The fact that he's reversed shows that there could be someone around you, coworker, parent, possibly a love interest, that is willing to take a little bit more from you. And you might have to speak up. And this is why the lessons from the past are coming through. You're worth more. It should be a 50-50 split when it comes to sort of like how much you both are putting into this. So make sure that you're not over delivering and kind of getting tapped out or zapped out energetically. This could also mean that someone around you is really focused on their own interests or their own development. They're putting themselves first. You can even see it here in this illustration. They're going to be fine, so are you. You don't have to make everything happen for them. This is a partnership, basically, is both of you kind of having each other's back. So just make sure that there's an equal partnership, because I can definitely see that this is perhaps why the scales are coming through. Stand up for yourself, ask for what you need. It's give and take. The scales are not always perfectly even, but they should eventually find balance over time. So you give a little, you get a little bit, vice versa. As long as that's happening, you're good. But this definitely can represent a partnership, a beginning of a family, a beginning of a new venture, and it's fruitful. In fact, we have a page here. So for some of you, this is spouses and a child. For some of you, this is partnership and a creation, like a project. And for many of you, this could be even a bigger sort of growth of anything that you're working on here. So we also have two pages. So for those of you that may have children, this can also indicate a partnership coming through for them, or someone in your friend circle. There could also be like two pairs of partners that are coming through. Okay, so the Page of Pentacles. I love that we have a little dragonfly on this one as well. So the Page of Pentacles is nurturing. We talked about the pine cone and the seeds that are inside. It has potential, a store of energy to grow, but it does require what we see on this page, which is love and support and nurturing. So she's taking care of this flower, making sure that it's got everything that it needs to grow. So that's the next stage in the journey for some of you is, aha, I have an idea. Aha, I might even have a partnership or some new resources coming in. Now I need to apply all of that so that things can flourish. Looking at your outcome, one of the best cards to have in the outcome space, which is the High Priestess. And she's almost like the wizard behind the curtain here. She's revealing herself and kind of coming out and saying, yes, I've been basically like the mastermind pulling all of these things together, and now I just need to trust in myself. Hopefully by the end of the month, you can start to see how powerful, how basically very able you are to bring things together. And this is a card ultimately of manifestation, spiritual development, creativity, and really starting to trust yourself. And I think that's the main message that the High Priestess wants to impart on all of you. All right, let's go ahead now and expand this. We're going to go a little deeper into the areas of health, wealth, love, and destiny. Each one of these is multi-part and multifaceted. And there's a quick reminder here that I'm not a substitute for a doctor, for a therapist, for a financial advisor, etc. But what I am is an intuitive, and what I'm here to do is to help you look at all of the possibilities. Let me take another drink here, and then we're going to talk through the message that came through in health. Okay, so Your health message is mother, wife, sister, daughter. You know, it's so interesting because for some of you, there might also be like a blended family coming in here. So we have like 2 partners and 2 children. So there could be something like that, or one partner might have a couple children, or you're moving into a new work or friend situation where there's like a tight knit group and you're like the newbie. So either way, it's going to be all right. There's a little bit of blending there. The other thing here is what I was talking about earlier. I'm going to keep going back to the traditional Rider-Waite-Smith card because it tells the story. So the 5 of Pentacles is often feeling like mom wasn't there, partner wasn't there, sibling wasn't there. And they left you out in the cold because literally we have the snowy scene there. There is a church, mosque, or some sort of sanctuary behind them, but they don't always go into that. So this card reversed came through saying you're all of these things to yourself. Your mother, your partner, your sibling, your child. You're all of those energies. Universally, you've embodied them all in one lifetime or another. That was the somersaulting energy that I saw. And this is something that's cool that I didn't see until I didn't believe it until I saw it. And many of us are like this. So I started to get past life recollections when I awakened, it's been a while now, 2008, 2009. And randomly, just recently, I started to get some new ones too. But when I do get a past life recollection, it's always fascinating. And I've seen myself in many different walks of life, many different spiritual walks. From, I was a monk, I was a priest, I was a nun, I was an astrologist, I was a tarot reader, I was a magician. I did it all. And then also I had regular lifetimes, and I was male and I was female, and I was every different religion, race, and walk of life. Because we get to do all of that. We're not just this. And so you already embody all of that. You just don't remember it. Sometimes we get a chance to glimpse it, but not always. And just if you can trust that you've got all of that worth and all of that sort of potential within, great things will happen. So see yourself as the beautiful, resplendent, multi-talented, multifaceted soul that you are. And that is going to be the key to your success this month, I believe. You're the embodiment of all the things that you seek. And when you recognize that, then they just start to come into your life. It's kind of like the Matrix, where Neo started to see the pattern in everything. And then once the pattern was revealed, he was able to work around it, sometimes even make it work in his favor. So you have a chance to start to do some of that. We actually saw that with the High Priestess. So you can start to recognize opportunities long before they come through. All right, let's take a look at this just from a health perspective. Again, with that standard disclaimer, I'm looking at opportunities and healthier patterns. You'll always work with the appropriate professional when it comes to your body or your mental health. Okay, 5 of Pentacles can represent a need to focus a little bit more on extremities here, particularly your feet. So for any of you that have had previous accidents like a sprained ankle, broken leg, etc., just be mindful there could be a little bit of healing to be done there. You also want to be careful of where you're walking. Don't multitask on your phone, etc. Higher sensitivity basically in ankle, foot, and shin whenever this card comes through. This can also just be about looking around you. Again, there could be for health and happiness, there could be something that's right there knocking at the door, and you just have to see that different perspective. A fresh perspective could help out quite a bit. There could also be someone around you that has habits that aren't the best. You're doing pretty well with the Queen of Pentacles, but there's someone around you that tends to kind of like overindulge. So basically knowing when and how to step away from that so it's not a temptation or distraction for you, I think that's going to be an important piece as well. All right, let me see if there's anything else that we need to focus on. Most of the health cards are pretty good. I think basically just finding better balance in your life, making sure that you're doing enough of what you want to do, that you're not, again, overextending yourself, because this is a very maternal card. Take care of yourself too. And that's ultimately what this is saying here. All right. I like what I see, and I think that you're actually in a really good space overall. Oh, one last thing. 10 of Wands can represent straining your back or pulling a muscle, and that's usually because you're trying to do too much. Energetically, it can just be like, again, taking on more than you need to. Again, remembering the message from this 10 of Wands, just to share the load a little bit. You don't have to do it all by yourself or do it all the time. Okay. That, my friends, is everything in health. Let's move on to wealth. It represents your resources, your money, your career, your purpose. It's an overarching card. And here's what we've got here. Something new is coming through, new beginning. We have dawn, the card is reversed. You might be a few steps away from that new beginning. You may be wondering if it's possible, if it's happening. Yes, it is. It came through. But sometimes, it just isn't obvious until the light of day shines on it. So one thing that's coming through as I'm tuning into the message around career and life purpose and all of that is just because it's not in front of you doesn't mean that it's not happening. It's about imagination. It's about faith. It's about vision. It's about looking at other ways of doing things. So if it's not obvious, if it's not right there in front of you, what else is? What else is going on? And also remember that everything had to start as an idea first. We dreamed it, and then eventually we found a way to do it. This is one of the reasons I love science fiction, futurist, sort of any sort of fantasy novels, because a lot of times, but particularly science fiction, it kind of takes a leap before science, before humanity is there, and then we start to see some of that stuff in our everyday life. We see a lot of this if we look at old space movies or serials or television shows where they're using technology that we now use every day. What was it? Dick Tracy had the watch, right? So now we have all these smart watches. There was the tricorder in Star Trek, and now we have iPhones and iPads and all those types of devices. We had talking computers for a while. Now we can talk to our smart devices as well at home. So we kind of were able to create something that started here. And isn't that cool? So dream it, then do it. And that's one of the things that we see with that. Sleep on it. It may not be clear tonight, but it may be clear as day tomorrow. So get a good night's sleep. Sometimes it's just not going to come through. When I was getting ready to do this reading, I was like, I need one more night. I need some rest. I'm tired, because I'd done 4 of those love readings, and I thought we got to do this on a fresh night's sleep, and that's what I did. So make sure that you're ready. Make sure that you've got the clarity. Don't burn yourself out. You have limits, and you have to honor those, and that's what this is showing. Get a good night's sleep. Tomorrow's going to be better. And that's actually one way that I can encapsulate it. Tomorrow's better, something is even better on the horizon. Whatever you're finishing, something better might be also coming through as well. Wealth. Justice can indicate something really interesting with this. This is you fighting for what matters. Again, if you were, someone shorted you money, they didn't give you enough, if they took money or if they underpaid you, or there's something that's not legally or just morally right, this is a chance to stand up for yourself and achieve justice. So there's that, and we see a new opportunity opening up. If you're not getting what you need, maybe it wasn't sort of like something that was unjust or unfair, just there's a lack. Someone lacks imagination or lacks interest, then you're going to stand up for yourself and find something else and find a new path, because with the Queen, the King, and the Page of Pentacles here, this is 1 month where I would say, make it happen. You can open up a new pathway when it comes to work, finances, etc. Speak about them openly with people that are professionals. Get to understand your contracts and your money and your savings accounts and all that stuff. Figure out where the investments are and if they're going in the right direction. You've got 4 cards that are showing wealth. So I feel like a lot is possible this month for you. We have a creative card, and we have a card showing a shift or a change in direction. We even have a ship on this particular High Priestess. So the next opportunity may not necessarily be where you're at. This is also a card of travel. So consider looking in different locations, city, province, state, or country. It could be outside of your typical zone of living or working. You should love what you're doing, the heart and the heart. Partnership could help. We have a lot of people in this spread. 4, a page, a queen, a king, and another page. So lots of partnership opportunities. There may have been a lack of that in the past, but there isn't in the future. So I see a lot more people recognizing your worth, and I see a lot more people with whom you can engage for future opportunities, should you decide to do so. If you're currently employed, I think that people really appreciate you. We get this great vibe of at least friendly energy here. The value, though, the valuation probably could be improved. If it doesn't exist where you're at, again, we're getting a lot of other opportunities here on the horizon. If you are looking for work, this is a good time to look for work. It could come from word of mouth. There is competition. Don't give up. Keep pushing. Keep putting putting yourself out there, and keep being passionate. If you're retired, traveling seems to come through pretty strong, and also meeting and mixing and mingling with new people, finding a new place to put your creativity and your expertise. Overall, beginnings. Some things are coming to a close, a lot of things are starting to ramp up, and that's exciting. Getting geared up, literally, for something new. All right, let's take a look now at the energy around relationships. We have joy is the ultimate creator. And this is a reminder that relationships, yes, there's a component of them that are work, but there should be some fun. It should feel natural. There should be this sort of energetic connection that you have that makes all the work worthwhile. If it's just work, or it's all work, or it's there's no sense of that sort of fun and playful energy, then it's time to recalibrate. Let's focus on 3 different types of relationships, and then we'll go from there. For those of you that are in an existing relationship, we'll begin with that, then we'll look at single and looking or single and happy. So existing relationships, here's what I see. First of all, there's already a pretty strong connection here with the King and the Queen of Pentacles. It looks like the way that you communicate is a little different though. One is from the heart and with emotions, and the other one is really looking at the bottom line and needs to be convinced with data and information and proof. So we need to find a way to bridge what feels right and what's in black and white. So that's one thing here is communication and value might be in a different space. We also see one partner that's focusing a little bit more on their own development or their own work, and another one that tends to be a better caretaker, keeping everything running. So just a little bit better division of work and energy and effort, and a little bit meeting in the middle when it comes to communication and what you're valuing and seeing important. In the past, you might actually be dealing with things from previous relationships or childhood. The childhood energy, again, is this 5 of Pentacles, maybe not receiving the validation that you need. And so sometimes needing a little bit more of that. Also, there could be frustration over recent setbacks here. And the two together could also be setbacks in money or just kind of getting what you need at work or elsewhere. And remember here that you're partners. You can help each other out. I think the good news, though, with all relationships is that we see this Wheel of Fortune energy. Things are starting to build, move, and grow, and that's a good thing. The other thing here is just simply validating one another. I see you and I appreciate you. I've been seeing a lot of those messages lately, but it's definitely coming through pretty clearly for you. Let's see what else is on the horizon here. If there's something more that you need or want in the relationship, speak up. The High Priestess shows a great potential to manifest exactly that. Some of you are on the heels of expansion of the family, which we see here, or even, again, your children or children's children. Like we see some new partnerships and new growth in the family, and that can be exciting. Overall, I like what I see. Page of Cups and High Priestess. That's near future and future. A lot of energy around money and sort of like inner child healing. But we talked about that earlier, and you can get through this if you want to. It's really just a question of seeing eye to eye and just doing a better job with communicating, I think, overall. For those of you that are single and looking for love, finish up the personal healing first. Make sure that you're happy with what you've got. By the way, with everybody, this is work-life balance, and this is also saying what you want. This is more important for those of you that might be single and looking. But even in the existing relationships, there could be someone in the picture that was divorced or has a blended family. So that's always something interesting to negotiate, and it takes time to figure out, how all of that's going to work. But I feel like it will work with these 2 cards. Make sure that whomever you're with, now we're going to move specifically to single and looking. If you're single and looking, make sure that that person is unattached. You don't necessarily want to be the first person on the rebound. And if you are, you want to really make sure that they've done their healing first before a new chapter begins for them. Vice versa, just really focus on making sure that you're both looking for the same thing at the same time. I think that there's room to grow in a really nice way. These are both favorable matches. You could have 2 different people that you're trying to decide between, because I see 2 different types of partnerships here. So it's really up to you to be discerning and decide what's better. For those of you that are single and happy, this card really jumps out at me. This is a chance for you to focus on personal development and to really move a project or an endeavor forward. Now, because we're looking at relationships, there are so many options coming through for you. I feel like you could build a team right now if you wanted to. I feel like you could, if you're single, happy, and retired, there could also be an opportunity to get more involved with the community. If you're a student, there's a chance to start something really cool, like this could be a club or an activity, but I see you leading things. I see you corralling things and organizing things. So this is a really good time to maybe not be attached to someone because of all the teamwork and creativity that wants to present itself. Also, look at the resources. So I feel like if you don't have it, someone else does around you. So you're pulling together kind of like a dream team to make something really exciting happen. Make sure you get a lawyer if there are any new projects or endeavors for those of you that are single and happy. And this also is something for all things related to finances. Make sure that you know what you're signing, that you're advocating for what you're worth, all of that, protecting intellectual property, etc., etc. Okay, now let's move along to the Destiny card. We have Dream Redirection, redream the situation. So for some of you, there is a chance to go bigger or bolder, to go beyond the expectations. And also, this is like judgment. When something's done, something new begins. So this is it's not even a sequel. It could be a prequel or a complete reimagination of what's possible. So redirect yourself, think of something new, and know that you haven't reached that sort of final stop. There's something bigger, better, brighter on the horizon if you allow yourself to dream and explore and see what's out there. And for, just looking at the cards again, we see that completion, we see creation, we see change and movement, and we see a lot of resources coming through here. So for sure, even if there was something in the past or recent past that didn't work out, everything as we're looking at near future or a few months out is starting to look really, really good. Okay? Now we're going to expand this a little bit further to take a look at the sun, rising, and moon messages. All right, let's take a look at the energy of sun, rising, and moon. All right, we'll begin with Aries sun. You have the beautiful star card. What a beautiful star card this is as well. So this is a moment for you to step into your truth, step into the spotlight, to basically reveal some of your hopes, your dreams, some of the things that you might have been working on, and let people see your true potential. I mentioned that the Hermit basically is the card that precedes this because we usually see that star in the lantern, and it's basically your chance now to say, hey, I've done the work, I know who I am, I don't feel like I have to hold back anymore, and good things start to happen. This is a card of leadership. So sometimes you're the light in the dark, sometimes you're the voice of reason, sometimes, like I talked about in our weekend collective, you are that center point that clears out the dust and the cobwebs that's happening around you. So don't be afraid to do that. You're coming through really, really strong. And the sun is what? A star. So this is the best card that I could probably pull for this particular component of the reading. So this is a time to be seen. This is a time to mix and mingle. This is a great time to connect with others. If you're looking for love or relationships, this can also indicate a really deep connection on the horizon. And this is you being the best version of you possible. All good stuff. If you're a little bit shy or if you're not used to being in the spotlight, this is about easing yourself out there. You could meditate on the Temperance card, which puts 1 foot in, 1 foot out, and just take your time and get there one step of the journey at a time. Looking at rising and ascendant, healing is basically what's coming through. So we talked quite a bit about that when we were looking at the Five of Pentacles. This is about getting outside of that old sort of mold and allowing yourself to really be advocating for your true worth. It's a chance to see the universe in a different light. And we see here that one moment of pain or distraction is maybe exactly what we needed for the Destiny card, the Dream Redirection. Sometimes we need to be disappointed or upset or triggered so that we get out of something. And you say, I quit, or I'm leaving you, or I have to do this now because if I don't, I'll always regret that. So I love that the Three of Swords is coming through reverse, saying it's a lessening of pain, an understanding of what's next, and a prioritization of what? Your heart happiness, because it's right at the center of this. So when your heart is happy, when you heal your heart, things start to open up for you. And this is your chance to truly rebound, reimagine, and redirect. And this especially came through for rising and ascendant. Rising and ascendant oftentimes hits the areas of work and career. So for many of you, it's a chance to really choose something that brings joy and happiness there. Now let's take a look at the moon messages. We have the Three of Wands. This is such a wonderful energy here for those of you that are really trying to create something new. It's showing that manifestation's happening in real time. The High Priestess is the imagining of something, and this is the realization of it happening in real time. Notice the ship in both of these. There could be some good news from afar. There could be something that you have to kind of go the distance in order to create, to see, or to manifest. But one thing with the Three of Wands to remember is you always want to be looking in the right direction. Sometimes if it's not right in front of you, that doesn't mean that it's not there. You just have to look and, wait, I need to just sort of, maybe I missed something in the past. Maybe I need to go back and revisit something. So look around, because what you're seeking is probably already underway. All right, everybody, we're doing something a little different this month. I'm going to go straight into the final card. The meditation will be broken out as its own video, so you can have a little bit more time to enjoy that. Take a look at the link below. Now let's focus on a final question that you have for me and see what the universe has in store. So this can be anything that is on your mind that the cards didn't address directly. Focus on that question right now, and let's see what the cards have to show for that. So we have the wonderful Two of Cups coming through here, which represents not just partnership, but also people on the horizon that are looking at you and saying, I value what you bring to the table, what you bring to the equation. And this is the antithesis, and it's a good thing that it's the antithesis of the Five of Pentacles. This was someone who lacked the imagination. This is someone who sees the potential, who sees the reality and says, yes, let's do this. This is also you valuing yourself enough to really wait for that proper partnership and connection to happen. There is this sort of very interesting intertwining energy that we see with this. So one challenge this month could simply be in making sure that you have proper boundaries and that you're not getting caught up in someone else's sort of energy or their own sort of drama here. So the Two of Cups can sometimes be getting like head over heels or really absorbing too much of someone else's drama. So that's the only sort of note on this, but otherwise it's auspicious for love. It means that yes, you can find someone. It's great for friendships and partnerships. It's great for general magnetic energy when it comes to abundance. And it really helps explain why we got so many cards around pentacles and money and worth. So, I really like what I see here. I think this is going to be a good time for all of Aries. And even if you're more independent, there are many partnership opportunities that are abounding. That brings this monthly reading to a close. If you enjoyed this, do me a favor, hit the thumbs up, leave a comment below, let me know what resonated, let me know what else you'd like to see. I read each and every comment and it really helps. Additionally, if you'd like to join me on social media for reminders, for news, and for updates, here's my handle. It's Nicholas Ashbaugh on all major platforms. You can always get additional information and the pertinent links on my website. Remember, I don't offer private readings. There are people out there that pretend to be me and pretend to do that. So you know in advance that that's not me. Thank you especially to those of you that are already subscribers, those that have gifted a membership, or perhaps if you've also given a super sticker, super chat, or super thanks. All of these things help the channel more than you realize. So I just want to say a big thank you. And remember to check out that new meditation video that I'm trying out this month. I hope you enjoy the new flow and the new format, and I'm so happy that you allow me to try new things. I'll see you real soon, and thanks for spending some time with me. Much love and light.